Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to To Be Determined. Today we are on the garden on the Alpha Network to go over the new Pests update that just dropped. We have a lot to go over, so smash the like and sub button and let's jump into it. Alright, so first thing we're going to notice is there is a new section of our barn over here on the left where Anita and Jacob are, but there are also a couple of new NPCs, Pest Hunter Philip and Pest Hunter Pamela. He says, sorry for the intrusion, but I got a report of a pest outbreak around here. What's a pest? Vermin, swine, buggers, seem to pop up when you're breaking crops on your garden. What should I do about it? Take this SkyMart vacuum. There's a pest out there somewhere, I'm certain of it. You find one, aim the vacuum, hold down the button, and you can suck them up really quick. Here is our SkyMart vacuum. It does 100 damage and has a bonus pest chance of 5%. We have to get rid of pests before they ruin our farming fortune. A pest has appeared in plot 4. Plot 4 is our sugarcane down here, so we should see a random pest down here. Now there are a bunch of different types of pests that can spawn, and we're going to go over them here in a moment. Here we go, we can see it right here. The mosquito. So we have to right click on it with the vacuum and you can see it dealing damage. It's very similar to the vacuum in the Rift, and after that we get a bestiary milestone because there is a bestiary now for the garden, so it has all the different types of pests in here: beetles, crickets, flies, locusts, mites, mosquitoes, moth, rats, slugs, and worms. So if we click on the mosquito, we can see the things that it dropped, and there are a bunch of new items here. So there are honey jars, dung, plant matter, buzzing beetles vinyl, and clipped wings. So this is what clipped wings is. It's a reforge. Shout out to Eelman for posting a lot of pictures of these new items on the forums, but it applies the buzzing reforge when combined with vacuum. So it adds a little bit of bonus pest chance when it's a legendary vacuum and doubles the damage dealt by vacuum. So this is probably the best reforge if I had to guess. Now this is one of the new vinyls, not the one dropped from mosquitoes, but it is a vinyl, and apparently there's a new chirping stereo item that you can place vinyls in to attract new types of pests. But before we get too much into that, we can talk to Anita here and notice that she has some new items. So she's got a new talisman that grants a random farming fortune stat during a Jacob's farming contest. You can tell which farming fortune stat it will give if you look in your calendar. If you have the new talisman equipped, like I bought one a moment ago, then you'll be able to see the farming fortune is next to the potato here. So we'll get extra farming fortune on potatoes from the talisman, but not on melons or mushroom. Now there's another item that appears here instead of the Anita's talisman. These will be a row down. It is called the personal best item. So once you buy that, you'll be able to see this menu here at the bottom of Anita's shop. And basically your personal best in each type of contest will grant you a certain amount of fortune towards that crop based on how well you did. So you can keep going up and up on these. Every personal best that you get will increase the amount of fortune that you get towards that crop. So I'm sure there will be a ton of contests on who can get the personal best to the highest on each crop. Let's check out the SkyMart because there's some new items. We've got a bunch of new vacuums here. So we start off with the SkyMart vacuum, which you can buy for 100 copper, but you can upgrade it to the turbo vacuum for 200 copper, and then the hyper vacuum for 500 more copper, then the Infinivacum for 1,000 more copper plus a chirping stereo, and then the Infinivacum Hooveriot for 2.5 thousand copper plus an atmospheric filter. Now I believe these will be visitor dropped, the chirping stereo and the atmospheric filter, but we're not really sure. If we go back over to Pest Hunter Philip, he's got some more dialogue after you've done your first pest hunt, I suppose that's the name we'll go with. If you bring some back for me, he'll study and reward you with farming fortune for your troubles. So we can empty our vacuum bag and get farming fortune while in our garden over the next half hour. And you can also enable Jacob's contest protection here, which allows during Jacob's contest for bonus pest chance to be disabled. So then there will be a longer cooldown between pest spawn. But there's also a pest handbook, which you can see all of the different items here. So flies are attracted to dung, crickets to honey jars, locusts to plant matter, etc. And the way that you can actually get these guys to be attracted more is with this new item in the SkyMart called the spray-inator. It's used to spray garden plots with various materials to attract certain types of pests. Now these sprays only last for half an hour as well, but if you break crops in a sprayed plot, you'll get an extra 50% bonus pest chance and 25% more likely to spawn pests with a 5-second cooldown. So we can buy this for 25 copper, which we'll do that, and we can left click to cycle materials. So if we left click, it changes it to plant matter, and then to dung, and then to honey jars, tasty cheese, and finally back to compost. So we have plenty of compost here, and you can see now on the item what they attract. So compost attracts worms and mosquitoes, but we can also see on the bazaar some of the new items skins in the bazaar, farming, and then garden section. So there is dung right here, there is tasty cheese, plant matter, honey jars, and the new wriggling larva item, which consume to permanently gain 2 bonus pest chance. You can get up to 5 of these. They each also give 5 SkyBlock XP, so that's a nice little bonus. But you can see the different items. So dung attracts beetle and fly, tasty cheese attracts rats and mites, plant matter attracts locusts and slugs, honey jars attract moths and crickets. So we are going to swap ours to compost, and then we can apply it on this plot. We sprayed plot 3 with compost, and it will expire in 30 minutes. So now if we go in with our carrot hoe and we just farm some carrots here, we should have an increased chance of getting one of the compost mobs. Let's go back over to Philip and Pamela here. You know, having dealt with pests for so long, I'm starting to find them kind of cute. I've developed a way to attract certain pests to my plots. Behold, spray-inator, which we just kind of skipped, but she gives us some tasty cheese. So we can now use tasty cheese. We'll use it on a mushroom plot here. Swap over to tasty cheese, spray that down, and then we can go crazy with the fungi cutter, which now goes up to legendary, by the way. It used to only go up to purple, and it has now made a pest appear. So we need to take our vacuum cleaner here and try and find this rat that spawned. So this is going to be a little bit more difficult to find these guys now whenever you've got a strange plot like I do, but here we go. We got him, the rat, which this is the same type of rat that appears in the main hub, I believe. So you can see it now has a bestiary though, and they have a chance as usual to drop the legendary rat pet, but they also have a chance to drop the vinyl and the other items that we use with the spray-inator. And then again, remember, we can always empty our pest vacuum and we'll receive some bonus farming fortune. So we empty our pest vacuum. Since we exchange 2 pests, we get 20 extra farming fortune. We can vacuum more pests and exchange them to gain even more farming fortune. So I'm guessing that if we exchange like 10 pests, then we'll get a really good amount of farming fortune with that. I don't know if it'll scale a ton or if there's a certain cap for it, but this looks pretty cool already. Now, if we also go back over here and talk to Jacob, you'll notice that there is actually some new bracket and some changes to the old bracket in his contest. So there are now diamond and platinum brackets, which rewards the same as a gold bracket, but I'm guessing this will have some special item or something to do with a talisman or SkyBlock XP, something like that. But gold is top 10% now instead of where it used to be top 5%. So hopefully getting gold medals will be a lot easier now in spite of all of the new upgrades to farming fortune. Now, just because I don't have the time to kill all these mobs, we're going to look through some of the ones that other people have found. So again, shout out to Eelman for all of these pictures. But this is a worm bestiary, what it looks like. So they have a chance to drop Bookworm's favorite book, which is this guy right here. Adds extra damage to vacuums, so it's basically a hot potato book for vacuums, so that's pretty nice. But you'll notice there's also a new enchant in the hex for armor, the Pest. Grants farming fortune and bonus pest chance, which increases your chance to spawn pests on the garden. And if you click on it, it does go up to level 5. But if we put our vacuum into the hex, you'll notice there is also a couple of reforges here. So we already talked about clipped wings, which doubles the damage dealt by vacuum. There's also the beady eyes, which grants 25 damage to vacuums and 40 bonus pest chance. So honestly, I'm going to say this one's probably better than the clipped wing, but honestly, I actually don't doubt that the strategy will be to have one of each. So one vacuum with beady eyes, one vacuum with the clipped wing, so you can deal double damage with the clipped wings vacuum and use the beady eyes one to spawn in more pests. Now, apparently there is also a brand new garden sack which you can make with fermentos and some other items that will hold squash, crappies, compost, and all of the new items that you use with a spray-inator. So that's pretty nice. But here is another big one. The slug bestiary apparently has a chance to drop a slug pet. Now, of course, nobody's dropped this, so we don't actually know what it does, but new pet, pretty cool. But if you're wondering actually when you unlock this pest stuff, you can check in your garden level. At level 5 is when you unlock the majority of the pests. Then you unlock worm pest at level 6, mite at 7, moth at 8, slug at 9, and beetle at 10. But that is actually not all, because if you go over to the visitor logbook and check that have never visited, there is a new NPC called Maid, which is the first mythic NPC. So somebody did happen to get her as a visitor, and this is what she offers: a Harbinger 5 potion. This is what the potion is. Grants extra farming fortune for 25 minutes. That's pretty nice. But also, it turns out the Exterminator book does actually drop from beetles at a 1% drop rate. So I'm sure that'll be pretty expensive once that comes to the main server. But that's everything we currently know about the Pest update. Honestly, this looks really cool, and hopefully it's going to be combating against macroers a little bit more, because if there is a pest on your plot, then you get less farming fortune on that plot. So hopefully the farming macroing will go down quite a bit, and you'll actually be able to make a decent amount from farming with the new farming fortune buffs as well. But thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks so much for watching to the end, and God bless.